Yep.
That's delicious.
Another episode of Brews and BizDev, and our illustrious guest today from EcoServe Pest Services is Audrey Hall. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
And your beer of choice, the Let's Go Pills by Community Beer Works. So let's get to the important stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Also, cans don't
Cheers to this
very
not
well.
being a Zoom meeting. How about that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes, this is the first one of these we're managing to shoot on location. So.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, you got to choose Community Beer Works for your brew.
Yeah.
So why CBW?
Why CBW? It's a great question. So I went through the UB Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership this past year. The program's got a really special place in my heart. Helped my business to be what it is today. And actually, Ethan Cox is one of the founders of CBW. Was in my class this past year, and so creative genius. I think the world of this guy. Is like one of the smartest people I know, and he makes awesome beer. So
Yeah.
and they've got really cool cans. You can't beat
It helps.
the design work on these cans.
Yeah. Yeah, they do great creative stuff.
Yeah.
And make good solid beer. I don't do a lot of pilsners or lagers, but it's nice and drinkable and fresh. Have you had this before, this one?
This is actually the first time I've had this, but it's actually really good. And I gave you some instructions ahead of time on like what I was thinking. This is perfect.
Good.
This is perfect.
Yes.
Ethan will kill me if I tell him what I actually drink on a regular basis. So I tried getting him to make some hard seltzer. That was a no-go.
Oh.
So insider knowledge, they're not making hard seltzer. I'm sorry. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, give it some time.
Yeah.
Until that market explodes.
I think it already has, but
It really has. Yes, we were just talking about it in here actually. So yes, Let's Go Pills. Now, one of my favorite things about your business is, even though you're in a traditional kind of business, right? You know, like, hey, pest control, that's been around for a long time. You come at it in a different way. So I think internally you come at it a different way. Externally, what you're using, what you're promoting. So just give us first the elevator pitch, like here's what we're all about, here's what we do, and then like let's dig into what had you go in the direction you went with that business.
yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. So we do homes and businesses, commercial, residential. Been at it. I'm second generation. We've been at it for about 20 years now. And it sounds so cliche, but it really is all about the people. It's all about who you bring on board. We're super particular about who we hire, which is one of the challenges of being in a business that's growing pretty rapidly, is that we have to find the right people. But once you have the right people, it's all about our tagline. And so a couple years ago, we created a tagline called Pest Control That's Personal. And this thing took 6 months to create. We had a writer, Marty's fantastic, and we were just keywords. What do we want to be as a business? No, not just taking care of people's pest problems, but more than what on the surface that's what it is, but really deeper than that. Who are we? And so Pest Control That's Personal became our tagline, but it really encompasses everything. It's about the hiring of the people. You got to have a great personality. We can train on all the stuff we do, but when it comes down to it, we have to have people who really care. And that feeling, I'm sure you know that feeling when you get a customer and they're just elated by what you've done for them. That feeling, those are the type of people we want, is that feeling is really important to them and that fulfills them. So that's part of it. And our customers are everything to us. And at the end of the day, that's how we go home and feed our families, right? So we want to make sure that the experience we provide to our customers is personal too. So that word really means so much to us. And every day we try to kind of create that something special for people. And our team's awesome. Honestly, every single one of them cares. They come to work and they care and they put the effort in, and we put out a great product. And so, yeah, it's fun. It's fun waking up and going to a job that the passion that you feel for your business is really a part of everyone on your team.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So you hire for that, you build around that, because skills, how to get in there and spray the stuff and do the things, you can train that.
Trainable.
But not attitude so much most of the time.
No, and I think the biggest thing too is you can train on that, but when you go out to a customer's house and we put ourselves in the position of the customers, that they have a pest problem, right? So they're not in like the best frame of mind.
Yeah.
I joke because when phones get busy, I'll pick up the phones and I'm like, how are you today? And like nearly every time they're like, well, I'm not great because I've got a problem. And every time I'm like, I shouldn't be asking you that because I know you're calling us because you have a problem. So, but it's a lot of fun. It's an interesting business to be in. Every day's different, and you're always learning.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes, and you focus on, and I've been a customer, right? So full disclosure, but also that usually helps with the insight. So I've dealt with your people at different points, and even though we had known each other from networking, it wasn't you I was like calling, it wasn't you showing up, right? So it's the other folks, and everyone's been great. And to your point, I'm not calling for good reasons, I'm not calling because everything's going great. I'm calling because we're getting eaten alive, or carpenter ants, and which will really put you in a bad mood, especially once people tell you how that can go and how quickly. So my experience is, everybody has been very customer centric, very personality and service oriented, and even in cases where there's not sometimes a good fit. Right, because we have that, and in marketing we deal with this all the time, where you're not trying to reach everybody. You can't please everybody for sure, but everyone's product and offering and message is not for everybody.
Right.
And so even like I had recently, because I know you use kind of green products in certain things, and what some used to be a choice then stopped being a choice, and it was just green. And then some of us who want to use some real heavy duty, like, no, I need everything gone, right? Like that we go in a different direction, but still the experience of dealing with the company is a good one. And everyone's taken care of clearly to the best of their ability, right? Taking care of any issue as much as possible, which is, I think, rare. I don't think it should be, but it is.
Well, and I think it comes down to the fact that our team members know that, like you said, every house is going to be a little bit different. Going out to the house, visually seeing it is going to be different than how it's expressed over the phone. And customers don't know the language that we know, or they don't exactly know what to look for. That's why they're calling us. So when our professionals go out to the house and they see something and they think, okay, well, it's a little bit different than the notes on the ticket, and here's our thoughts on it. I mean, that's basically how it's laid out. It's here's what we're thinking, here's what we see. Let's explain it a little bit. Let's educate. Let's put some education on the table, and then we take it and we give it to the customer, and because it's their home. At the end of the day, they need to feel comfortable with the decisions they're making. So, we're not a hard sell company. We don't ever want to be that company, and I think most companies out there aren't like that. I think the ones who are, it's pretty obvious, but we want our customers to feel like they're the ones making the decision and not us. And pests are weird. Like, they do weird stuff. So, like, I don't know how many times customers have called in and they're like, we are inundated with ants. I need you to come. So we come, like, within the next, 24 hours. We get there, they're gone. They're gone, Paul. And it is like, it happens all the time. Customers are like, really? Really? They heard you were coming. And so you go out there, you do a little investigation, and it looks like you guys kind of handled it with what you have. You don't need something, So it's not, in some situations, it's, hey, we're glad you called us. Yeah. You don't need us. But if you need us again, or if you know someone who needs us, we're here. Right. And I think that makes more of an impression than not.
Yes, than trying to just jam a service in just because, and why.
Right.
Yeah. And so how do you build that in? Because this is about like BizDev and marketing,
Yeah.
right? So customer care, I understand that's one side, because the better you take care of people, they're going to advocate for you, they're going to promote, they're going to refer. So I assume there's a big chunk of business coming from that. How do you bring the personal into the rest of your marketing?
For sure, yeah. So I think the biggest thing is there's a couple different things. So a couple years ago, what we did was our dog Theo. He's a black lab. He's like 1.5 now, and so we brought him into our marketing, and he became we turned him into a cartoon. So he became this personal part of our story. So we put him into some of our messaging, and we realized soon after that a lot of our customers have dogs. I mean, I think we knew it, but it was one of those things where it's like on social media we have people just like, here's my dog. Oh my gosh, how's Theo doing today? You know, Sally's doing great at home, and blah blah blah. So that's fun for me because we've got 3 labs at home and we love dogs, but that's part of that personal approach. And so one of the things we decided to do was do dog treats for our customers. So that's part of that personal experience. We put dog treats in a plastic bag. We put a little note. It says, it's got Theo's picture on it. It says, "We positively appreciate you," and it's signed by Theo. And that gets put. All of our service people in the field have a big bucket of them. Even if the customer's not home, they drop these treats off. Like, customers go crazy over their dog treats. Yeah. Like, more so, because the other thing we have is little kids kits that are in little plastic baggies, and it's just a bunch of like insect stuff. But I've got a 4-year-old at home, and good God, every time someone comes to the door or calls me, she comes out of nowhere and has 30 different questions for me about something that does not matter, but there she is. So we find that a lot with our service staff. So to kind of curtail that and kind of make mom and dad happy, we've got these little bags, and it goes to the kid, and the kid can, go stamp your hand with the insect stamp, and let your mom have some peace and quiet.
Right. Yes.
Oh.
You're gonna go in a small room and then just do this. Yeah.
So that's all part of that personal touch that we bring, and it's something a little bit different. It really doesn't take much. It's like $50 a month, $75 a month to do something like that, but it's huge. It makes such a difference. People love it, and again, it really pulls us back into that personal approach. And the biggest thing we want to do is provide a service experience that's not something that people have seen before. So it's fun. It's the creativity element of it makes my job exciting. And
so the dog treats, who thought that up? I know, like we all did,
probably
all
me.
that stuff, but really.
It was I love dogs. I love dogs. We got 3 dogs at home. We rotate them at the office every day. So in the morning, it's like dog competition at our house to see who goes to the office. Theo gets it most of it, but our other 2 get to visit every once in a while. And so it was one of those things where thinking of what's a leave behind that we can share with our customers to really up it, and that has worked wonders. COVID has really, we put it on pause. We put everything on pause, the kids, the dog treats, the paper tickets, we put all that on pause. So emailing was everything for a while. But now we're slowly getting back into things.
Yeah.
So, it's.
And if you mentioned email. So in the world of advertising, any kind of marketing, social, digital, online kind of, what are you doing that you find is working or not working? And also curious, how do you work, besides just messaging, of course, is the answer, like how do you work that personal angle into digital outreach? Or
you know what, I find by looking at how other people do it, it's a lot of it is really I don't want to say overproduced, but it's like almost too clean. So like for us, we're I don't want to say messy, but like we want to make it real. Yeah. And that real life is messy. Sometimes you have like weird stories out in the field, or sometimes like Theo does something weird in the office, or like we do fun things at the office too. So like that's all part of our story, and we like to share those things on social media or like to our customers, and so that I think has helped us.
Mm-hmm.
People see the real side of us, not just the bug killing stuff.
Yeah.
I think it brings it back down to the real world a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we do some custom videos, we do some of that stuff, and I think that's really great for maybe a new customer looking to see what we're all about. Have that message being super focused in that one video or two videos, but I think more so than just that one decision, it's about the brand, and it's about bringing that customer along on your journey. And so, so them seeing every component of who we are as a company, who we are as people, what we like to do outside of work, you know, how we make work fun, it kind of wraps it all in a nice little package with a nice little bow on top.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yes, nice. What do you think has been the thing? Because I certainly agree, right? I'm not, like, build the brand, you know, have a story like of who you actually are. That's not a totally constructed nonsense story that a consultant came up with that will work on people. But your actual story told in a way that's relevant for people. So I'm into that, and then obviously there are certain things you can measure when you're doing that kind of marketing, and certain things, a lot of things, frankly, on the brand side that you can't measure even in an age of digital. But, you know, especially if you've been through the CEL and everyone's all about like looking at the numbers, right, and keeping an eye on things. Have there been any marketing like initiatives or any things you've tried that seem to fit, you know, most people's narrative, like, oh, this should probably be a good idea, that then just kind of fell flat?
Oh gosh. So we talk about, I guess when we talk about brand, we talk about who we are as a company, and again, that whole, we're not just bug killers. We're not just like, when someone thinks about EcoServe, I don't necessarily want them to think pest control. I want them to think family. I want them to think, you know, you're gonna get great service. It's about the people, but it's also like community, and it's about giving back, and it's about, and I know it's just, companies do this all the time, and I think it's really important for all companies to do that, but in their own special way. And so there's some stuff we do over the course of the year that I think helps bring that community message in, because you can take care of your customers, right? You can provide a great experience. You can take care of your people. That's certainly something you can do. But at the end of, you know, like, we're in a community where we live here. My kids that go here, our people's kids go here, and there's a lot of great organizations that need support and need that relationship with local businesses. And so part of my job, and I guess part of all of our jobs, is to do little things that get us involved in the community. So yeah, whether it's me being on the board of CEL with small business, or you know, we do some stuff, breast cancer fundraiser in October, a day of giving throughout the year, just like different stuff. It's fun, and I think it also does a good job at recruiting when it comes to recruiting people for work, because people want to feel part of something. You know, you don't want to just go to work to do your job, to go home, to me, that doesn't excite me. Like, that doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. But the resources that were provided by our customers, you know, them paying for our services, if we're able to take that money and do something with it, you know, that really does make an impact in the community. I feel good, or people feel good. And I think other people in the community say, oh yeah, like, they're not just pest control. They're a good company. Like, they care. Like, it's a company that I could see myself working in and making a career out of. Yeah, it's all, I mean, it's such a big business strategy, but in a heartfelt way, you know, like, not fake way. I don't ever want to come across like, you know, just doing it for that. But I think it's all part of the mix.
And community-wise, because as as long as we've been on each other's radar, and I know it was like Amherst Chamber stuff at first, and then, I mean, anytime I looked or came across something online, you were joining some program, and then you were traveling to some like leaders of pest control thing for like a year or something, and getting these awards, and like you mentioned, you know, have taken on a role at CEL as, what is it, chairman of the board? Like, what's the title?
Yep. That's the one.
That's the one. So, so clearly
one.
you've been engaged, and you like engaging in that way, and they all have benefits. Obviously, if you're in a course, you're learning things as tangible benefits.
Yep.
You know, this one, certainly you will be connected with more businesses, so there's a, you know, there's a benefit.
Huge.
But also, I'm guessing that the I hope I get business out of this is not what's going to drive you to take on a position of this kind of stature, because there's probably going to be more give than get for sure. So what is the juice for you? Like, what are you most excited about taking on this thing in particular at CEL? Like, what is the, like, this is the part that I'm excited about?
So with the University of Buffalo's CEL, the Alumni Association, it's about, I think they have 1,400 members. There's about 200 that are really active. There's a bunch of events throughout the course of the year. But I would say, like, I've been on the board for, I don't know, a few years now. And the board is made up of people who are just super passionate. And they're business leaders that are local. And so they serve and live in our community too. And so having the opportunity to be a part of that and to go to these meetings, and it's been virtual, but you still get to see them and shoot them an email after, you know, afterwards, or have a conversation with them, see how they're doing. That type of stuff is motivational just from a business perspective. It's like, it's you see those successes that they've had in their own business, or you see them, Paul, have their own podcast series or this thing, and it's like, how cool is that? You know, it's for me, it's awesome to see other people succeed in their businesses, and it's a motivator. It's like, wow, gosh, that is really cool to see them do that. And I was on the ride over here, I was thinking, where were Paul and I think it's been 6-7 years since we've known each other at the Amherst Chamber. And where we were back then to what has transpired over that time.
Long, strange trip,
Yeah, and it's cool. For businesses or for people who are, I can't recommend enough just getting your foot in the door somewhere, just going out and talking to people. I don't think it's ever, like, for me, it's never been about the sales. It's never been about selling someone pest control. It's only been about just soaking in the knowledge that they have, and then taking that and being like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool how they're doing this. Maybe I'll take that and tweak it a little bit. Or just having a conversation with them and be like, hey, did you ever think about that? Like, I've had so much given to me over the years, and I think being a part of the board is just a little piece of me staying connected, and then helping out in any way I can. That's what it's all about. It's crazy how fast time flies. It really is, right? I mean, just
no, it's and it seems to pick up pace as we go. So, all right. So I'm gonna just give an open ender here. So this is the part where you get to just deliver a message, say something, promo something if you want. You know, we don't want to be all about sales, but whatever it is that you want to contribute is your piece.
I honestly would just continue on the path of getting yourself out there. And if you're starting a business, or you don't feel like you have time, or you're in a difficult position right now, when I was starting out in graduated from UB in 2012, took over my dad's business. We were doing about $35,000 at the time. So it's a part-time job. Just getting yourself out there and meeting new people and surrounding yourself with people who are just smarter than you and want to help. That's why I love CEL so much. It's just a bunch of people that want to help and give back their knowledge. And most of the time, the reason why they're doing it is because someone before them helped them along the way. So I think having that type of feeling is the single-handed biggest thing that's helped me in my career. You know, my husband and I are business partners, and he's fantastic at the day-to-day stuff. I am so lucky to have him there, and I'm able to do some of this other stuff that I want to do. But I really think just if you have that personality, if you can put yourself out there and meet a bunch of new people and just soak it in, and not from a sales perspective, it goes a long way. Yeah.
Soak it in, give back, just engage.
And find out who you are. You know, what do you want to be as a company? It doesn't have to revolve around what you do or what you sell. You know, what do you value? What's important to you? What if you have a team? What's important to your team? Ask them, sit them down. I mean, that's one of the things that I found was super beneficial the last couple of years, is just sitting down with our team and just being like, hey, like, what do you care about? One of the things that we're growing right now, and so we're bringing on new people, and one of the things I'm recognizing is that we've got a ton of veterans working for us. Mm-hmm. My mom works for us; she's an Army vet. We've got 3 other Army vets and Marine working for us, so it's 5. That's a little under half of our team. Mm-hmm. So probably what I'm going to be doing as part of our community initiative is talking to them and seeing how we can rally around a veteran organization. Yeah. Because that's important to them. It shouldn't necessarily be about what's important to me. Right. What's important to me doesn't, what's important to them, what's important to our customers, and that's what I love about my job. That's what I love about my job. Nice. You get to be creative and have fun. Yeah.
Creative and taking care of people better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're going to wrap up so that you can get on with your day. I mean, we won't hit the road too quick after this beer, of course. But
yeah, exactly.
But thanks so much for coming out
you.
And participating with us.
Appreciate it.
And let's go Pills, and we'll see you soon. So let's talk about BizDev, but talk about it from the perspective of being a woman doing BizDev, and what's traditionally thought of as a man's role.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I've grown up in this industry my whole life. It's evolved so much over that time. So it's kind of fun to watch. I think, I've been a part of the National Association for, as long as since I've been going to this stuff since I was 2 or 3. So, you grow up and definitely male-dominated industry. In high school, I was doing the field work myself. So, there were days where you'd walk up to a house and someone would ask, I talk to you on the phone. Where's the man? Where's the guy? I'm like, well, you get me. I'm sorry. And there's no discount for me. So there was a few instances. It wasn't horrible. Yeah. We've come a long way. They have the industry has a professional women in pest management group that really cultivates this feeling that a woman being in the pest control industry is just a no-brainer, and it's a weird thing to talk about, but when you think about it, our customers most of the time are women 35 to 55, 60. They're the decision makers of the home. So who do they feel most comfortable with? Another woman. And a lot of times women have this empathetic, caring, nurturing quality that's more so than maybe a male counterpart. That's not always the case. I would never say that, but I think that more women in pest control only helps our industry. Yeah. It only helps our customer base. And so they've done a really good job at really promoting that. From a business perspective, I've never had a problem being a woman in this industry. It's never been an issue for me. I think the biggest thing is at the end of the day, you have to walk the talk. I mean, you have to walk the talk. You have to do what you say you're going to do, show up when you say you're going to show up. Not every day is going to be perfect, but
do you feel like you have to do that more than, let's say, a well-presented guy would?
not even a little bit. Mm-mm.
Cool.
No, honestly, I think this goes for any business. If you are genuine, it comes off that way, whether you're a man or a woman. If at the end of the day you believe in what you sell, or believe in the service or the products that you offer, people see through it. And it's all about understanding understanding the business components of it. CEL is a great place. That's my little promotion for CEL. If you're not a business person, go see them, right? But at the end of the day, you have to be true to who you are, true to what you sell, and hire people who feel the same way that you do. And that's always been my belief. I've never had a problem. I almost think that honestly, I've had it's been a disadvantage to the men throughout my career, because I have that ability to connect with our customers more so than one of my service technicians would, or even my husband would. Just because I have that connection. I know a lot of women in our industry that own businesses themselves, and they say, they say, well, I'm a mom. I know where you're coming from. I know your days are insane. I know the last thing that you want to deal with is bugs, because I don't want to deal with bugs at my house, right? So you connect with them on just a different level, as opposed to maybe a man would. So I would consider it more of an advantage than I would a disadvantage in our industry. Business-wise, I just believe it's about being genuine and true to who you are, and showing passion and making yourself open to those conversations, and you're not perfect, right? And relying on other people to help you get there.
Cool.
Yeah.